Hi everyone, my name is Derek, and I am a 32-year-old man who has come to Reddit to ask for help. I know a lot of people come here when they are in very drastic situations, which is why I never thought things in my life could get so bad as to force me to come here. My wife is a scheming, conniving witch who only got engaged to me so she could suck out all my money and leave me in ruins. I am sorry if I sound too dramatic, but I am enraged right now. I feel betrayed, and honestly, I also feel like a fool for having gotten so far into a relationship that has just been a facade all along. I just got back from work early because of what I found out about her. A little bit about me. I am the business head at my dad's company. I have been working for him for 6 years and got promoted last year. I have a younger brother, Alan, M26, and he has never had a penchant for business. And he has admittedly said that a lot over the years so naturally. When he asked my dad to give him a job, he denied it. And I guess since then, he has held some resentment towards me and my dad, but I did not know it would lead him to do these drastic and extreme things. My dad even gave him the chance to enroll in an MBA, after which he could be a part of the company, but he was not going to just give him a job because he was his son. He needed to earn it. But he did not go for that either, and I had already been working for years. But when I got promoted to business head, he refused to come to the celebratory party. I was a little hurt, but since we don't really have a relationship, I did not think much about it. So, you see, basically, there's always been a certain unease. This was also around the time I met Tashi, F29, my wife. Our relationship grew very quickly over the last year, and we got married a month ago. Now that I look back, rushing things so quickly was a huge mistake. Yesterday, our company completed 25 years, so last night was the 25th anniversary party, and it was huge. A lot of people came, and I was naturally very occupied entertaining the guests, and my brother was also there. He got pretty drunk, and everyone could see that, and he even walked up to me to congratulate me, which was a surprise. But anyway, the party went well overall. But today, when I got to work, my assistant Harry was really impatient, waiting to tell me something, and he kept seeking me out, but I was going in and out of meetings constantly. When I got free, he finally came into my cabin and said that he needed to tell me something important. He found out about my wife. Before I go on, I want to mention that Harry has been a part of our family for 10 years, since he started working as an assistant for my dad. He has been like a brother to me, and a son to my parents, so he has pretty much been involved in everything that goes on in our family too. So he comes up to my cabin and tells me that Alan was really drunk at the party last night, which is why Harry was constantly with him, taking care of him, etc. After a point, he was so drunk that he had no idea what he was even talking about, and he started saying some really inappropriate things, which is why Harry had to take him back to the house. Alan got really emotional and stuff, as people get after drinking, and started telling Harry a huge secret he had been keeping from everyone. I got a little concerned at this point, and Harry continued talking. Harry told me that Alan has been in a relationship with my wife for 5 years. Yes, you read that right. 4 years before Tashi and I met, she had been with Alan. And last year, when I got promoted, Alan started believing that he may never get to be the heir of the company until I was there. And he started seeing me as the sole problem coming in the way of his goals. He thought that the only way to get rid of me was to remove me from my position and stop me from getting married, so I wouldn't have a child who would be next in line to own the company. But since none of those were in his control, he asked Tashi to date me and entrap me to marry her so that he could get some sort of control over my life. His plan was that she would marry me because the company would go to me and then divorce me for a big alimony, and also pin a fake domestic violence case against me, so I would lose my position and he would get to be the next in line. Harry just slapped me with all this information. My wife, the woman I thought was the love of my life, has been freaking out about planning a scheme against me and my brother all this time. She has been with him for 4 years. I have wasted so much of my time, effort, and money on this woman, and she has been a con all along. I don't know if I can fully express what I felt when he told me this. My newly married wife and my brother have been scheming against me. I was shocked, and he tried a lot to console me. But I just sat there, frozen and shocked. I told him I needed to go home, and he understood. On the way back home, I was just constantly thinking about every single thing Tashi and I had said to each other, replaying everything she said to me, and how it was all a giant lie. The freaking $1 million wedding that we had thrown, all a lie. I feel like the biggest fool in the world right now. To my luck, Tashi left for her mother's house today, early in the morning, because she had caught a cold. I am in no condition to face her right now because this is all a lot for me to process. How is someone even supposed to process this? I never thought Alan would go to such lengths. He has so much time on his hands to indulge in all this. He has chosen the worst way to do this because they have both played with my feelings massively in this entire process. I cannot stop thinking about Tashi and how, even in the most vulnerable moments we had together, she was lying. I am feeling so overwhelmed right now that I feel like puking. I don't know what to do. My life is so massively screwed up right now. I feel scared, broke, anxious, and angry all at once. I have a million questions, and yet I am scared the answers will hurt me even more. I felt like talking about this with someone, but I don't want to be too rash in taking a step that I might regret later. There was even a time when Tashi and I had gone for a vacation in Italy and we got into a fight because she kept calling someone again and again, and it was affecting the entire trip. She kept telling me that her friend was going through a breakup and that she needed to be there for her. Looking back at it, I am sure that was Alan. This is such an ugly thought, and it's all Alan's doing. He had brought Tashi into my life for his petty schemes because he can't do anything of substance with his life, which also means that Tashi does not love me and has been pretending everything. I really don't know what to do because things are so massively screwed up. If I tell anyone about this, it might become gossip and defame the company. I can't even confront her directly because I have no concrete proof of this, and if she has been lying all this time, she can easily get out of it again and manipulate the situation according to herself. This is why I am here. If you have any suggestions as to how to move forward with this, or even what should be my next step, I will be indebted to you forever. But please tell me what to do. Positive comment. I can't even imagine what you are going through right now. This is such a messed up situation. I have only seen such things happen in movies, but to think someone would go this far in real life? I think the obvious thing everyone would tell you is to divorce her, but it's never that simple or easy when you are in love, especially when you just got married. This is supposed to be a time of bliss for you, but rather, you found out something so ugly about your family. I think you should still tell your parents about this so you at least have them on your side since Harry already knows. Negative comment. Well, what else did you expect from rushing into things so quickly? This is the problem with today's generation. You need to be dating someone for at least 2 years before you marry them, or else stuff like this happens. Especially when you are a successful man with money, so many people might try to take advantage of you, and that sucks, but it is what it is. It is your responsibility to be careful for your own sake. Update 1. Hey everyone, I did not think so many people would respond to my post. I had even forgotten I wrote this. I did keep checking up here a lot for a few days after I wrote it, but ultimately it took me like weeks to just process and accept everything that had happened, which is why I'm writing this update after 2 months and I'm feeling a lot less overwhelmed and hysterical than I was last time. Tashi came almost a week after I found out. from her mother's place. It was really difficult to hold up appearances in front of her because I was at my rock bottom and I had to hide that from her. I started noticing small things about her behavior and how they were proof of the lies she had been hiding from me. It was maddening. I had already started going to work because it was the only respite I was getting from her. Harry obviously knew what I was going through, but I could not really bring myself to talk to him very extensively about it because he was friends with my brother and the rest of my family. He tried to be there for me in whatever way he could, but when he saw that even after weeks, my state of mind was the same, he came up to talk to me about it. He said that he understood this was a big shock to me, and it's not something I could easily move on from, but I could not let my brother's scheme get to me like this, because if I ruin my life over this, he would win. That was exactly what he was trying to accomplish. I said, what was I supposed to do? And he said that their entire plan depended upon Alan being the next in line for Dad's company, but I had the chance to bring in a new heir. I did not immediately catch what he was talking about, but then it dawned on me. If I have a kid, that kid would be the next in line to own the company, which would completely derail their plans. I told him that I didn't want to stay married to Tashi, let alone have a kid with her, and he said that I simply had to tell her I wanted a kid to rattle their plans. This is why I love Harry. With an outside eye in the family, he can look at situations very objectively rather than emotionally. I followed his advice. I went home and told Tashi I wanted to talk to her about something serious, and I told her that I wanted to start our lives together as quickly as possible because I love Fallon Atoman Salike Shuhain. How I she tromain the end have wives are so much. Which is why I wanted to have a baby. Her stance faltered a little, and she was clearly shocked. She asked me why I was suddenly talking about having a baby out of the blue, and I said I had been thinking about it for a while. You know, while I was talking to her, I also realized that right now I was just the business head, not the CEO. Which means that she would have to stay married to me for at least another 5 years, because that is when I would be eligible enough for that position, and it shocked me even more. She was going to uphold a fake marriage for freaking 5 years, while being with my brother at the same time. The sheer stupidity and ridiculousness of their plan had just started to hit me at that moment. I would have found out about it along the way. Their plan reeked of desperation and mindlessness. There I was, witnessing Tashi lose her mind over what I said. It was comical. She tried to find her way out of the situation and started saying things like, "But we just got married. Let's enjoy our honeymoon period a little more. What's the rush?" But I kept saying no, I wanted a baby now. The rest of our conversation for the next 2 hours looked pretty much like this. She kept trying to talk me out of it, and now that I knew what she was up to, it was just delightful seeing her get all stressed and worked up. We slept that night without any conclusion. As I told her we would talk about it later because I was tired. I just wanted her to tell Alan about it so that they both knew it would not be that easy to mess with me. This happened a few days ago, and we have not talked about it since then, so they both grow more and more stressed as time passes. I am planning to spring it on her again in a few days, as soon as they think I have forgotten about it. I will let you guys know what happens. Update 2. Okay, so things escalated a lot more quickly than I expected in the last month. I don't know what kind of messed up relationship they both are in because their little plan was so ill-advised. It's almost like they're not even living in the real world. Almost a week after I wrote the last update, I brought up the topic of having a baby again. This time, her reaction was a lot more defensive and emotional, like she was a lot more worked up. I don't know how else to put it. She started saying she was not ready and that pregnancy came with so many complications that she needed time to be ready for it, etc. I told her that having a kid was really important to me and that if that was not not something she wanted, maybe it was time we rethought things. She asked what I meant by that, and I simply told her that I wanted a kid, and I got it. She needed time, but my parents are old, and I want them to play with their grandchildren. They might not have that much time. She was speechless, and after a while, she said she would think about it. Lamau, what else could she have said? That night, she was constantly on her phone, texting and calling Alan. She thought I did not notice, but you could easily see the stress on her face. She was pacing around, and after a point when I went to sleep that night, I heard her screaming at Alan on call. The pressure of the situation was getting to them. In the next few days, they both fought a lot. When I asked her what was wrong, she just told me her sister was annoying her. But then last week, I had just come back home from work, and I guess she did not realize it. She was in the bathroom screaming and crying very drastically, and from what she was saying, it seemed as if they had broken up. I heard her telling him that I am pressuring her for a baby and that I don't know what you expect me to do. It's not like I want to have his baby. I am more scared than you. I'm sorry, but I was enjoying the hell out of all this. She hung up the call saying, I am sick of this, and I'm sick of you and your stupid half-cooked plans. I am done. They had broken up. I went out and sat in my car for 5 minutes so she did not suspect I heard anything. Then I came in. She was sitting on the couch, extremely distressed and angry, on the verge of crying. I just went into my room. I think they have still talked a few times after that, and I'm not exactly sure what their plan of action is here, which is why I said their plan was so ill-advised. I have tried asking her many times why she has been so depressed lately, but she just says something like, she is stressed at work, has family issues, or something else. Honestly, this is exactly what I wanted. The amount of pain and mental torment they have both caused me. They both deserve this. I'm going to keep pestering her about a baby so she cracks even sooner. I think after this, the course of action is pretty clear. Their truth comes out, and I divorce her, after which I will tell my parents about everything he did. I have also recorded a bunch of their calls, and anyway, Harry knows about all this, and my parents blindly trust his word, so he can easily vouch for me. They are both in a world of hell. I will keep you all updated. Thank you for being a part of my story. Update 3. You guys, oh my god, okay, they are both such desperate pricks, and they have both gotten their due diligence for being such leeches. I know I am coming here after just a week. You might be wondering what could have possibly happened in such a short time for me to be writing about it like this. Well, guess what? I think, like, 3 days after I heard them breaking up over a call, Tashi came up to me one night in a very serious mood, and I thought, okay, finally she was about to reveal everything to me. But no. She sat in bed with me and straight up said, let's do it. I asked her what, and she said she had thought long and hard about it and was ready to have a baby with me. This devil of a woman, now that she had lost her ticket to be the company's heir's wife, wanted to safeguard herself by having my baby. You know, all this time I had been thinking Alan had entrapped her, but I realized that day that she was also just as greedy and selfish as him. I thought when her last straw broke, she would just confess the truth, because why would you want to have a baby with someone you were just using for money? But it turns out she is that vile. This conversation took me by shock, and I had no idea how to react to it, so I just asked her how she was so sure all of a sudden, and she just gave me some crap about how she agreed with me on starting our life as soon as possible, etc. I was not even listening to her words by that point because I was so angry that her BS exceeded all lengths. I just stayed silent and listened to her rant about her fake bullshot feelings. After a few minutes of listening to her, I told her that I knew everything. She did not get it, so I told her that I knew every single thing about her plan, and I told her all of it at length. At first, of course, she tried to gaslight me, pretending to not know what I was talking about, and I told her to cut the crap because I had proof of everything. I played her the voice recording of her and Alan on call, and I also told her Harry knew everything because Alan told him himself. Her face looked like what the most scared person on Earth would look like, LL. I said to her that I was just playing with them for the last few months, exactly like they had been playing with me, and that I could not believe she would stoop this low even after their plans were bungled. She started screaming back at me, and I just asked her to leave. This happened last night, and I think she must have gone to her mom's house. Or Alan's house. I don't care what she does now because I am going to tell my parents everything today and then divorce her as planned. Her and Alan must be eating their heads off, anticipating my next move. I need to go now, and I will let you guys know how it goes. I just hope Alan does not do anything more demented before I tell my parents. Update 4. Hey everyone, I know it's been way too long, and I disappeared for 5 months straight, but a lot has happened this time. But don't worry, things have ended pretty well for me, I guess, so this might be my last update, hopefully. That day I went to my parents and told them everything. I showed them all the proof, and Harry was also there with me, so he also told them everything. Their reaction was, of course, a huge amount of shock, but they were also angry that I had kept all this from them for so long. They called my brother to my dad's house, and my dad scolded him real good. Alan had no other option other than fake crying, but my dad was not done with him. He said that he had tried his entire life to provide for him and encourage him to do something with his life, and this is how he chose to repay him by being an immature and stupid son. He tried to pin it all on me about how Dad always favored me, which was such crap. He had no real defense, so he just said the most cliché things you could think of. My dad said to Harry right then and there that not a single penny from his fortune would go to Alan. And the way he freaked out when he heard that, he started begging and apologizing to me and my dad because this was his worst nightmare come true. I did feel bad for my mom, though, because she was crying looking at the state of her son. She felt bad for him, but she also knew there was no other way to deal with him, since he was a lost cause. I took her to another room while my dad dealt with Alan. I consoled her and even cried with her. It was at that moment that I felt the most angry I had ever felt at him, because he had hurt our entire family, all for money that he did not deserve. Long story short, Alan has been disowned by my family, and I divorced Tashi. She lost her husband and her boyfriend too, as well as a secure marriage. She was forced to go back to her hometown of Tulsa. The divorce was finalized about a month ago, and honestly, I thought losing her would affect me a lot, even though she was such a vile woman, but it did not. I think since we had been together only for a year, maybe my attachment to her was not that strong, and I just rushed into it because my feelings were very strong. But my life has remained pretty unaffected, honestly. My brother has tried contacting me a lot. He even came to our office the day after which he was kicked out by Harry, who also got a restraining order against him later. All in all, it was a pretty good end to all this drama. I don't want to talk about it any further because I am really focused on my work these days, and it's all already in the past for me. Thank you so much, you guys, for caring enough about my story to offer your advice. Your support has really kept me going all these months. Bye for now and have a great year. Positive comment. Oh my God, what was this story? I can't believe there are people out there living lives like this. I mean, instead of all this planning and scheming, your brother could have put all that effort into getting an MBA, like your dad suggested. And I mean, you are a rich family. Your dad could have easily donated your brother's way to college. He legit did not have to do anything else but show up to class. It's crazy how he has completely bungled the privilege of being born into a rich family where he could easily follow whatever passions he had. What would I not give to have such a privilege? And don't even get me started on your ex-wife. That woman was ready to bear your child all for money. Good freaking riddance, honestly. Negative comment. How is getting your brother disowned solving any of your problems? You had an unfaithful wife. You could have straight up divorced her without all this unnecessary scheming yourself. And I think your brother also did not deserve such a drastic punishment. Your parents could have cut his allowance or something, but completely disowning him is taking it a little too far. I mean, he is a human being. He could have changed if someone tried to talk some sense into him instead of throwing expectations at him. Just because you had the perfect career trajectory does not mean it's easy for everyone. Your brother has been clearly neglected.